Most important thing is to stop feeding understanding ammonia. All animals produce and must get rid of nitrogen waste or die. Mammals get rid of urea in their urine stream. Birds, reptiles, and insects get rid of uric acid in their droppings. Fish get rid of ammonia through their gills. We're here to talk about fish. As water goes past the gills, ammonia moves from the higher concentration inside the fish's blood to the lower concentration in the surrounding water. This movement of ammonia will continue until the fish's body and the surrounding water reaches equal concentrations. If the concentration of the surrounding water is high enough, it can slow, stop, or even reverse the process. When ammonia gets into water, it converts some of that ammonia into ammonium. Ammonium is far less toxic to our fish because it can't be reabsorbed from the water. How much of it gets converted depends on the temperature of the water and, more importantly, its pH. The cooler the water temperature and the lower, more acidic the pH, the more that can get converted. When we do our usual API water test, the results can be a little misleading on how toxic it actually is. The result is the total amount of ammonia, free ammonia, which is highly toxic, and ammonium. This is known as total ammonia nitrogen, or TAN. Let's pretend we're doing an API ammonia test and we get a TAN reading of 2 ppm. That's really high. Oh no, we're in full panic mode. My fish are dead meat. We do our other tests. We find out that we have a water temperature of 77 Fahrenheit or 24 Celsius and a pH of 6.8. Now you'll find this calculator, link to this calculator in the description of this video. So we enter those numbers into the calculator and we find out that we have a total free ammonia of 0.0071. Well, the safe limit is 0 to 0.025 ppm. So our fish are safe as far as the free ammonia goes. However, this doesn't indicate that there's not a problem in the system. Now let's pretend the only thing that's different is our pH is 7.8. We now have a free ammonia concentration of 0.692, and this is very high and very toxic to our fish. Nothing has changed. We still have the same TAN reading, but because the pH is higher, it becomes much more toxic to our fish. So what's happening? Well, in low pH, the ammonia will try to strip away a hydrogen molecule from water or hydronium. This stripping away of the molecule leaves behind hydroxide and water as the byproduct. In high pH, the hydroxide is going to try to strip away a hydrogen molecule from the ammonium, recreating ammonia. This is why in high pH, where there's more hydroxide, we end up with higher concentrations of ammonia because it converts back to ammonia from ammonium. So what's the real big danger besides ammonia is bad for our fish? Well, both can be converted into nitrite. Nitrite in high enough concentrations can get back into our fish. It'll strip away oxygen from the blood, creating nitrat within the fish, which isn't toxic, but the lower oxygen concentrations within our fish basically ends up suffocating our fish, and the fish dies. So why is my TAN reading so high? What can I do? Well, one thing that you may have done was you added fish before the biofilter was fully cycled. Cycling is the process of growing the necessary bacteria in order to process the ammonia from ammonia into nitrite and then into nitrat. Stop feeding your fish. Change 50% of the water. When you restart feeding, cut back on the feeding to about 25% of what you were until the system stabilizes. Once it stabilizes, you can go back to it. The filter that we chose cannot house enough bacteria for the bioload that it's trying to process. Simply said, you've added too many fish for the filter to handle. Stop feeding. Change 50% of the water. Remove fish and or increase the filtration. You're overfeeding or something is rotting in the system, releasing ammonia. When something is rotting in the system, not only will it release ammonia into the system, but it reduces the amount of available oxygen for the fish. Stop feeding. Look for whatever's rotting in the system. It could be uneaten food. It could be a dead fish in a corner somewhere. It could be some plant roots that you left behind. It could be that you have poor solids filtration and it's building up around the roots of your plants. It starts to rot and it releases ammonia into the system. Not only is it bad that you have bad solids removal for that reason, but it can create anaerobic zones that will convert nitrat back into nitrite, and we know how toxic nitrite is for our fish. You need to address the issue. So in closing, when we do our API ammonia test, we're testing for total ammonia and ammonium nitrogen in the system, and that's known as TAN. How dangerous that reading is really depends on the pH and the water temperature. The lower both are, the more ammonia gets converted into ammonium. pH makes the biggest difference. Ammonium is not dangerous to our fish directly and is plant available. A high reading does indicate that there's probably something wrong in the system. Both ammonia and ammonium can be converted into nitrite. Nitrite is very toxic to our fish. There is no good version of nitrite. There are several things that we can do to help lower these readings. The most important thing is to stop feeding until we identify the problem and we get it under control. Your fish will be fine if they miss a few meals. If you got something out of the video, like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day, everybody.